Welcome yet to another edition of the Midnight Blue and Gold Launchpad Podcast. I am Rocket Ryan Brandt.
I am PJ Spiller, a.k.a. Pagilic.
I am Dan Rocket Man Savage.
And I'm Kyle W.
And what about Nate Kresge? Are you waiting for an introduction
I'm
here?
Nate Kresge, live from Texas.
Live from Texas, the Texas Rocket.
All my exes live in Texas. Anyway, you're not here to listen to us sing because I'm excited about the guest we have. And that
Absolutely.
would be All Mac, safety, the big hitter in the backfield. Number 25, the pride of New Palestine, Indiana. We are talking Maxen Hook. Maxen, thanks so much for joining us.
Maxen, welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. Glad to be on the show.
And, first of all, before we get into everything, we just want to say thank you for coming back for yet another year. You graduated from UT in December, I do believe it was. Congratulations. And you and both your roommate, Quinyon Mitchell, you guys, some nice pictures on social media. Nice to see you guys doing well and getting that degree from the University of Toledo, just like smart guys like me and Dan and Pat and Kyle.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get the degree under the belt, so can really just focus on football now. But yeah, no, it was. I thought I was done with school, and I guess I'm coming back for another year. So now I get to start the master's. So
there you go.
It's all good.
What's your major, and what are you looking to get your degree and master's in?
So I got my undergrad in finance, and I'm gonna pursue a master's in business leadership.
Oh, great! That sounds awesome. So let's get to the football part of things. And like I said, we've been calling it New Palestine, Indiana, forever. And we were told by your dad this fall it's New Palestine. So we are now.
Yeah.
We are now well versed in the pronunciation, but how did you get to Toledo from New Palestine?
So I guess my recruiting was kind of slow early on, and we hadn't had a player go Division I at our school in like 30 years, I'm pretty sure.
Wow!
And our head coach kind of turned the football program around. We went back-to-back state championships. So after we won our first state championship with him, the recruiting started to pick up. I had a buddy who was a defensive end. He ended up committing to Michigan State, and then we had a running back who I think our junior year he scored 70 touchdowns, so he was 3 away from the national all-time high school football record. And so we got a lot of college coaches obviously coming in, and so it just started to pick up from there. I remember I think my first offer was from like Illinois State. So I picked up some FCS offers, ended up picking up like all the academy schools like Navy, Air Force, Army. And so, I kind of was talking to some MAC schools, ended up taking my first visit to a MAC school, ended up being Toledo. I didn't have an offer from there. But I really liked, Coach Watson, who is my position coach now. And I really liked the campus, and I liked Candle. And just really kind of fell in love with the campus and everything. Kind of went back up there a couple times, trying to get an offer from there. And I think maybe my third time visiting, I got an offer. And that was my first MAC school offer. And after kind of Toledo offered me, most of the other MAC schools kind of followed suit. That was the 2019. So I committed that summer of 2019. And Toledo kind of started hot, almost beat Kentucky. They were kind of rolling, and then they lost to BG, and the doors kind of fell off. And I remember the defensive staff completely got fired, but the only one that was left was Coach Watson. So they kind of were like, and I was supposed to, I was going to graduate early, and show up in January, and for a few weeks, probably like a month, I didn't hear anything from anybody because I assumed it was probably chaos over there. Trying to get a new staff and everything. And Candle calls me. He's like, hey, we still want you to show up in the spring if you can. And I was like, well, I'll be there. So yeah, I really liked Candle. I liked Coach Watson. In high school, I never backpedaled. I was kind of like I guess you would call it like a star position. It's kind of like a outside linebacker-ish, nickel-ish type guy. We played a 3-3 stack. Yeah, and played just kind of like cover 3. So I had really never done any of the safety drills or anything like that. But I could tackle, could play on special teams, and that's kind of what they saw in me, and gave me the offer. Yeah, so then I came here. I was lucky to have like some older guys ahead of me that were also really successful. Tyson Anderson, who's on the Bengals, Womack, who's on the 49ers, and I had no idea how to do any DB drills or anything like that. And those guys just kind of took me under their wing and really helped craft me into the player I am today. And now I'm able to give that back to the younger guys as well.
Hell yeah, that's great. I mean, looking back, though, in that tumultuous time when the whole defensive staff got kind of shit canned and you're sitting there, are you wondering, like, what am I getting myself into? Like, I noticed, in your senior year, you scored 7 touchdowns and had 450 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Not let alone your defensive play. And it's like, is this really where I want to go? And what was your final decision? I know you said you liked Candle and you loved Watson, but what was it that put you over the edge that it was like, hey, this is where I need to be?
I don't know. I guess I had committed to them, in the summer, and I had really good vibe with them. Yeah, I mean, I had 2 really good years back to back, and none of the schools in Indiana would take a shot on me. I mean, I was Mr. Football DB, and all the Big Ten schools are coming.
Yeah, DB for Indiana.
Yeah, and say all the Big Ten schools from Indiana, Purdue, they're coming in saying, you can't play here, you can't play here. And so I just kind of had a big respect to Toledo for being one of the first bigger football schools to give me an offer. And I kind of feel like I gave them my word, and if they were gonna commit to it still, even after the whole staff, then that's where I was going to go. Towards the end, Miami of Ohio was really trying to recruit me really hard. Miami of Ohio is, I think, only like an hour and a half from my house. And then, their head coach was coming to our playoff games, and they were really trying to swing me at the last second. But, when they said they still wanted me to come in the spring, I was like, I'm going to do it. And I also remember previously before our junior year, before we had won the 2 state championships, I'd taken my friend's dad, was friends with like the offensive coordinator there or something. And we kind of took like a little visit there. It wasn't really anything official, but I just remembered that OC guy, he told his dad that we would never play college football because we were too small. And he was still on that staff when I was there. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm not going there.
Wow.
Yeah. Now they really want me. I'm like, all right.
Guess what, brother?
That's funny.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So your freshman year was 2020 with COVID, correct?
Yeah. So 2020 was a crazy year.
It's a very, very strange year to start off college.
Yeah, very, very strange year. I had no idea. I came in early, got my feet wet a little bit, was learning the playbook, which was something that ended up being, kind of like some people would view it as a negative. You go in, the whole staff that was supposed to be there gets fired. Ended up being a positive because I came in and everybody was learning the defense. I was learning the defense with everybody else because we're learning a whole new system. So I started from the same chapter that everybody else was on. And I think that was something that really benefited me because I was able to learn, faster than some of the other guys who had played. And, I just kind of knew what my job was. I still was a smaller freshman, but I kind of used that COVID time when we got sent home to really learn the playbook, on Zoom calls and stuff like that. And, I still, the COVID year was still just that was just a crazy year of, college football. We're practicing and we're wearing these like mask things that don't work. We got to sit far away from each other. It was just the most bizarre thing in the entire world.
Right.
But, it was kind of a good thing. I was able to get in some games that didn't really matter all that much and, kind of get a feel of like the speed of college football. So at the end of the day, it wasn't the worst thing that happened to me because, I probably would have, burned my freshman year there playing special teams and stuff. And I ended up just getting it for free. So I think it actually helped me out at the end of the day because, otherwise I would be done right now. And instead
You mentioned that initially when you were recruited, they did say special teams. Did they also mention sliding you into a nickel position right away?
Yeah, so when they recruited me, they were running the defense that Coach George ran, which they had a kind of that outside roamer linebacker. He's between a linebacker, between a nickel type of guy called the star, and that's
kind of like a 4-2-5.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was recruited to play. And then when he got fired, that position was gone. So they were like, "Well, you can play safety." So yeah, I ended up just playing safety, and I loved it.
Was that a tough transition?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was kind of hard because I just never backpedaled. I was never in a cover 2. I was never in a middle third, and I just had always loved to tackle. So I was super nosy and would run up, which was for our defense. A lot of times we're in a cover 4 type of scheme where we use our safeties to run fit a lot. So in that sense, it did help me a lot because I was aggressive and come downhill and fit the run, but I wasn't as much of a use and helpful in the pass game and in my zones and stuff. So just being able to, identify an offensive scheme and, what kind of plays they're going to run, where I need to be in my zones, where I need to be in my drops has, benefited me a lot more, later in my career. But it definitely took some getting adjusted to early on.
As far as COVID goes, I'm an ex-video student, dude, and they actually called me during COVID because the video staff all got tested positive, and I was there and I had to do the pre-testing and all the other bullshit, and that was a wild time. I had to go.
Yeah.
I went on the trip to Western and the trip to Eastern to film, and man, it was definitely odd. That Western Michigan game, I mean, we had an okay COVID year, went 4-2, but that last 2 minutes, the defense, do you remember much of that? We went into prevent, they ran the play that, as to me, it felt like there was a false whistle. Do you remember much of that?
Yeah, I actually vividly remember that because this was one of I had up until that point, everything in football had gone just amazing. Won back-to-back state championships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing college football. I'm playing in games, and I just remember being on the sidelines. I didn't get in much that game. I got in on special teams, and I just remember being on the sidelines well, it looks like we're gonna win this one with about 4 minutes left or something like that. And they scored, and they got the ball back fast, scored again. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a game again. And I remember whatever happened, and they scored, and they are going to go out for an onside kick, and I was on Hans' team, and I haven't been on the field in a quarter at this point because we haven't scored at all. And I was like, oh my God, my hands are frozen. I was like, all right, let's do this. We go out there, and I remember looking in the formation that we had, I was the only guy in the middle, and I'm like, they've got 4 dudes there because they're going to kick it right down the middle. And sure enough, they did, and it went right between my hands, right between somebody else's hands. And I just remember watching on a video later that kicker reaching out and just arm
For sure.
the craziest pull-in ever.
Yes.
But I was just distraught with myself on the sidelines. I was like, all right, it's all right. We got a good defense. They're still gonna win this game. And yeah, I remember the fake spike. There was a whistle blown. You can hear it on ESPN, so I know it was blown. And then they throw a touchdown, and I was like, wow, holy shit, we just lost, and it's my fault. And yeah, I was just distraught with myself. But it's one of those things where I think it needed to happen too, just because, yeah, you realize, I've got to be ready in those situations, and I just got to get better. And it's just one of those things where, not everything's always going to go your way. And so you got to be able to work through the down times, the hard times. Obviously, everybody in the building's pissed at you, and you muff the onside or lose the game. But
way to bring up bad memories, Dan.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was that guy.
Jeez.
Damn, Dan.
I was removed. I came back after 5 years. In my last game, we recovered an onside kick against Temple to win the Boca Raton Bowl. So in my head, onside kicks were great. And then that game, and I was like, fuck, why'd I come back?
Right.
Well, hey, Maxen, if this makes you feel any better, we have a UT game on my TV from this year. We always have that on in the background just to give us a little ambiance. And it's the Northern Illinois game from this year. And they just showed the stick that you made inside the 5-yard line, and your buddy Nate Bauer recovered it for a Rockets first down. So hopefully that makes up for that.
Makes up for that horrible memory.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's definitely a better one.
Yes, definitely. So, you had that 2020 season, and then all of a sudden you start racking up the awards. 2021, you're a third-team All-MAC, your first year I should say your first full year, regular year as a starter. And then you were first team in both 2022 and 2023, won a MAC title in there, had an 11-game winning streak. So far, your career at Toledo has been, I would say, very successful. Plus, in the classroom, second-team academic All-American.
Yeah, I think Toledo's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. That's a huge reason why I'm coming back for another year because, I've had so much success here. It's put me in such a good position for life. So I think, I owe it to Toledo to give them one more year here. I think in college football right now, a lot of people have the mentality of what can I do that's best for me. Obviously you could go to a transfer to another school and get a boatload of money, but is at the end of the day, there's got to be some loyalty there, and the grass isn't always greener at other places. So
I love it.
I really I love the coaching staff here. I like the guys here, and I think we can be really good again next year. So I think it's just one of those things where I come back and get healthy and be 3-time first team All-MAC.
There you
Absolutely.
go. Well, that's another thing I like about you coming back is your mom and dad, Amy and Matt, can come back and sing karaoke with me. So that's definitely a plus.
There you go.
Hang out on the bus.
I'm sure they will.
Looking back in how the transfer portal has changed things in college athletics so much, I really admire you for having the loyalty to stay with it because I think you're one of those guys that could have jumped and gone to someplace else and gotten a great NIL deal. But you know what? You don't have the camaraderie. You don't have the loyalty. You don't have the team spirit or whatever it is that drew you back here. And I think that's really something to be appreciated, in these days. Because it is so common for anybody. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I think it's great for anybody to go out and get what they need to get and get what they want to get. But I think, you doing that and saying that's a step above.
Yeah, and obviously Toledo's done a great job too of getting their players what they can too. I mean, the Friends of Rocky thing was huge for them. And
For sure.
It's not like Toledo's just like, oh well, we can't do anything for our guys. No, they're making headway. They're not going to get.
They're working
get
hard.
The money that a Big Ten school is going to get, but if they can get you a little something, and we've been here, we've been through all this together. Like we owe it to them to stay. And obviously, the Friends of Rocky just has showed that there are a lot of people in Toledo that care about Toledo, that care about the Rockets, and they want us to stay here too. So, I think it just shows that I think Toledo is a big. It's a football program, and there's people that care about it, and I think the work they've put in has kept people here.
Yeah. It's the biggest show in town, and I think there's a lot of people that get behind the program and love you guys.
Yeah, so through winter workouts, have you guys dealt much with the incoming transfers? I mean, we lost McDonald and Q, and then Delancey's going to Wisconsin. Like, how's the back end look? You're obviously going to be one of the leaders back there. What have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, the guys coming in have looked great. I mean, they're all working hard. I remember even today, we had an early morning. We had to be up at like 5 to have a team run at 6, and then we've got. After you run, you got position work, and then we go back over to the Larimer complex. We've got a workout, and then have an hour of position meetings. And then after all that, everybody got lunch, and all the DBs were back up in the room with Coach Watson and Coach Parker, going over the defenses. And so, stuff like that just kind of shows you that we're going to be okay. These young guys that we have coming in are hungry. The transfers we got in, they care. Like, people want to be good. They want to learn the defense, and it's not just like, all right, got to clock in, do whatever's required of me, and then I'm straight out the door. No, there's people that are always in the building trying to learn and get ahead and ready for spring ball to show that they can really play and help out the team.
Let's talk about your roommate. There's a little bit of talk about this number 27. How do you pronounce it? Quinyon Mitchell, is it?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
you got to be excited for him. That's all I can say.
Oh yeah, no, I'm so excited for him. looking back 4 years to when we came in together, I just can't believe that that's his reality right now, and I'm super proud of him. I hope he has an amazing pro day. I've said he's the best athlete I've ever seen in person, and so when he blows out his pro day, and when he blows it out of the water, I'm gonna be like, "Yep, told everybody." But yeah, I would also love it if
You didn't see Pat and I in our prime.
yeah, I would also love I would love to see him go to the Colts.
Oh yeah, your dad.
The Lions could use some help. I'm not gonna lie.
And I take him in Pittsburgh. So
There's a lot of teams that could use corners. So
Yes,
he's not going to be on the board very long.
and a
No,
corner of that caliber, every team could use it.
I'd say he's top two corner. And
Yeah, a lot of mock drafts are showing
Yeah.
so then I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk too about you and your speed, surprising speed, and obviously you have a goal to make it to the league.
Yeah. I mean, I had a combine invite this year too. I, had everything ready and set to do the pre-draft stuff, place to train, kind of everything was ready to go. And, I kind of just sat down and was like, can I really play a whole year in the NFL with this foot? And I was just like, I just don't think it's possible. I went and saw a doctor that specializes in ankles for the NFL. He's kind of one of the guys that, he'll be at pro day. And, because you have to get checked off by all the doctors and they check everything on you. And he kind of advised me that I should get surgery. So, it was, I got cleaned up. It got cleaned up, kind of scoped out. And it's a long recovery because, it's an ankle. It takes a while before I can run again on it.
so, how is the foot?
It's getting better. Yeah, it's getting a lot better. About, I want to say a month and a half in, maybe a little less than a month and a half in. But yeah, it's getting better. I just think it was the best decision for my career wise. I don't think I was able to play at the level I feel like I'm capable at. I was definitely not running at my top end speed for the whole season, which is just unfortunate because I heard it game one, kind of took 3-4 weeks off and then came back for the NIU game actually, but it was just never healed up. And, I was just kind of playing through pain the whole season. And I think it was kind of leading to some other things I had going on, which I think it just, at the end of the day, I just needed to get surgery. And, NFL's got to be pushed back another year.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be frustrating when you can't play at 100% and you're out there doing the best you can, and you have that drive, but you just can't be at that 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most frustrating years I've had with football. And we were winning games, so I wanted to be out there, and I was still able to play at a high level and play well. So I knew I could help my team being out there, but it just kind of sucks when you can't play at your full potential, and you're kind of always like, oh man, if I felt 100%, I could do so much more. So yeah, just frustrating, but we still had a good year, and
yeah, absolutely.
it didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I a lot of these guys I kind of came in with, or they were here. Like Zach Ford, he'd been in college for 2 or 3 years before I'd even gotten there, and I was in college with him the whole time. Nate,
Yeah, I saw him the other day. I asked him if he had his doctorate yet.
yeah. But
he was using a cane.
I played with those guys for so long, and I wanted to be out there with them. Well, when it was there last year, so yeah,
Absolutely.
I wasn't going to get a surgery in the middle of the season and miss the rest of that.
So that definitely played a big part in your decision to come back this year, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, I would have had to miss, all the pro day stuff,
Right.
and it would have just, I could, risk, becoming a free agent, and then, a team's got to pick me up, but, they got to deal with my injury, and it would have just been super risky when I've got another year of eligibility. I might as well use it, get healthy, come back, hopefully have a better year than I've had any of the years, and just upgrade my draft stock.
Yeah, let's go get that second MAC championship in your tenure here, and how about maybe a 13-0 playoff? I mean,
What are your thoughts about this
Yeah.
team coming up?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the team coming back?
I think we got a really young team, but I think we got a team that's going to be hungry. I feel like the team this year, we're definitely gonna have mistakes, and early on, it might be, some learning curves here and there. But I just feel like this team's gonna be really hungry. There's a lot of guys that want to prove themselves that haven't played a whole lot of college football, but I think we recruit talented kids here at Toledo, so they're gonna prove themselves.
All right, Maxen. Well, we appreciate you taking time out on this Monday, and we wish you best of luck this spring and obviously in 2024.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll have you on again sometime soon.
We can't let you go without a little of this. TOL!
Yo.
All right. We are also in the midst of basketball season, as you can probably tell when you look at the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, hey, how about the men? For a team that is so young, so inexperienced, losing their three best players from last year, they're 16-9 overall, 10-2 in the conference, with a couple of big games this week. They don't get much bigger than first place Akron coming to town on Tuesday night, and then going to that dirty, dastardly tractor-pulling capital of the world, Bowling Green, on Friday.
Well, with us being the 2 seed right now, a win against the Akron Zips on Tuesday would put us in a tie for the lead with 5 games left. If we lose that, we will be tied with Central Michigan, assuming that they win, and then we don't get a return game with Central.
Right.
So that could pin us in the third and then definitely out of first place contention, which it's not really a big deal if that happens. But I like the Rockets' chances at home Tuesday against the Zips. They're not playing the best of ball. They almost lost to Buffalo this weekend, who was in last place.
Right.
And the Rockets came off a 2-point close victory to the Ohio Bobcats. Not a lot of defense in the first half.
No.
But the offense has been churning their wheels lately.
Would you say it leans more on the MAC tournament than some of these games towards the end?
The only thing that matters is the MAC tournament.
Right.
Yeah.
But
with this league, yeah, absolutely.
if you want to get Akron on a side against a team that they've lost to, let's take that 1 seed again and wear them white jerseys in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think if they can contain the big man
Freeman, yeah.
Freeman, he's going to do what he's going to do, but I think if they can put a little bit of a lid on him and maybe, contain everybody else around him, they have a good shot, especially at home.
Yeah, they're a 2-man scoring team. There's Freeman
Right.
and Ali, and if one of them doesn't go off, we've got a really good chance.
Yeah.
So his name's Ali. What's his second? What's his last name?
I don't know his first name.
Ali.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we're the number one scoring offense in the league,
And the third worst defensive field goal percentage team in the nation.
Yeah, that's the downfall.
And then after that, Toledo goes to Bowling Green, and if we won that, that would be in the 3 major sports Toledo has swept. Women just finished their
Sweep of them.
Sweep of the Falcons, and that's fucking awesome.
That was great. Yes, in that dingy, dirty,
At high school gym.
school gym.
It's new. It's clean.
Yeah.
But it's
They
high
they
school
put
gym.
the TV production crew up in the corner of the arena. No suites, no nothing. It's a concrete perimeter.
Would you say, Dan, it's Home Depot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even Lowe's. It's Home Depot.
That's an insult to Home Depot.
I know.
They got the right color though.
You guys were in attendance.
I mean-
It looks like we had a good crowd, though. The
Yeah.
ladies traveled
they had
well.
a great crowd.
And Quenisha had a game.
Quenisha had a killer game. 26 points, 7 assists, and 7 assists and 5 steals.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, 5 steals.
Yeah.
Yeah, she came out. Sophia Wired came out on fire in the first
What
half.
was
Fire on
interesting is
fire.
she was pretty quiet in the second.
She
I think
scored
she only
11
had like 2 points.
Yeah, she scored 11 points in the first half, finished with 13 for the game, but she had.
I was going to look it up. Did you know how many assists she had?
She had 5 assists and she
Okay.
had 4 steals.
Okay.
Or 3 steals. I'm sorry, but she had a solid first half, but they put the clamps down on her. They had a couple. I think they had 1 or 2 players back that they didn't have. Bowling Green didn't have the first time they played us up here. So that made a little bit of a difference, but nice crowd, solid game. But I mean, once we were up by 12 and then 14, there was never a doubt really, because they couldn't put any kind of a dent into us, and it was a well. It
was a well-rounded game.
Well-rounded game, yeah. I mean, you had
I mean, we played our fives very
Yeah,
frequently.
our fives. I noticed that right from the start. Trisha was switching the fives out 2 minutes at a time.
Mhm.
They would come in for 2 minutes. Like it was Cook in, and then is Garcia in. And Garcia started the game, but then she was out after 2 minutes, and then Cook came in, and then
Hannah had a good game.
Hannah had a great game. She ended up with I think 7 or 9 points. She had 2 blocks, and she had multiple rebounds, and she was a presence down low because they would drive in and they'd look at her and kick it back out.
Nan Garcia, for being one of our bigs, she has a good-looking three.
Oh yeah,
Like
but
it's
she
smooth.
hit that three. It was silky.
Yeah.
I didn't even think it hit the net. I think it just
It was just
It's-
like
it was
whispered.
butter.
It whispered
Yeah.
through the net.
That's right.
Yeah, she's top 10 in the conference in 3-point
I
percentage.
think we know she's a good three shooter, but just watching her, it's like, man, she
Yeah,
She's got an edge
dialed
to
in.
her too, man. She walks
She
down
does.
the court,
Yeah,
holds up
yeah.
that three.
Yeah,
That's
she
awesome.
holds up that
Yeah.
three, and she's got some swagger to her. I love it. And like our buddy Paulie Newman says, I'd love to have her by my side in an alley fight.
Oh yeah, I take her and Sammy any day over
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
a lot of what these
Absolutely.
MAC men's teams have
That's
bringing to
right.
us.
Scrappy.
Texas Nate used to have the same kind of swag when we played at the park.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe that.
He was known for his three.
Oh yeah.
bringing some blades to the game.
That's right.
The big matchup for the ladies this week is Saturday at Savage Arena against the only team that's beaten us in Mid-American Conference play, the Ball State Cardinals. They won their Sun Belt Challenge matchup too. They're winning games by 15-20, just like the Rockets are. We're gonna need 5,000 plus. They had a good crowd when we played them down there. Let's get some revenge and take that 1 seed back.
Yeah, the women are now 19-4 overall, 11-1 in conference play, and
And Ball State is coming in with 2 or 3 losses.
Total, yeah, I think
Yeah.
3. Yeah, I think
I
like
think
21-3 or something
21
like
and
that.
3, and I can't believe they're not ranked.
It's unbelievable. Like Charlie Cream does the bracketology for
Yeah.
CBS on the women's side, and they still have Ball State as a 13 seed as the automatic qualifier. And
Jesus.
Toledo's not even in like the next 4 considered, while Michigan is considered in the tournament,
In Michigan,
who we defeated by 23
kicked
points
the
at home.
shit out of them.
Yeah.
and
And
exactly.
They give up 49 points to Caitlin Clark in Iowa last week.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
She's
yeah.
really good at basketball, though.
Yeah, she's a good basketball player.
Yeah, Ball State comes in. So going into Wednesday night's game, Ball State 22-3 overall, 11-1 in conference play.
yeah.
So,
Whew.
and that's a good team too. I think we talked about this earlier. How they beat a couple of great teams back to back. They beat Pitt from the ACC and Georgia from the SEC back to back weeks. So yeah, it should be a good one. Now Miami, on the other hand, they're not real good. They come in on Wednesday night, sporting a 7-16 record, 4-8.
They
in
just
the
got some
conference.
players back though. They're playing better than they were
Yeah.
the first time we met them, right as conference play started.
When we met them down in the library.
Yeah, and again for Saturday, students, you got to get into that coach's head. He is a hothead. And
Yes.
If you were there Friday, Jeff Bowles at Ohio got a technical.
Oh yeah, he got fired up.
He was all over the place. So this is a team, and their center too is very like apt to technicals. She's only had like, I think 1 game against Toledo where she hasn't had one. So we need to
For all
get in
those
her
students
head.
out there, get out there and
Yeah.
get this place fired up.
Kind of an interesting thing here. So tickets for that game are $27. The next highest for any of the remaining games is 12. So that is a huge game. You can just tell
Oh,
by the
yeah.
ticket price.
For
Yep.
Ball State, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's an app. I'm surprised it's not on national TV.
First one was so
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wonder if it may switch at some point this week and be picked up by ESPNU or the Deuce.
hmm
Yeah, probably not because they have to have like a 10-day notice or something stupid
Oh,
like
okay.
that. So
Well,
I mean, but they should.
Yeah,
If it were up to me, they would.
Quick little baseball, softball recap from the weekend. The men started off the season with a win against Mercer, then lost the next 2. And then the ladies won 2 out of 3 in their tournament. The last game was canceled for weather, I assume. So
Right.
they'll be back at it Friday. But I've got a trivia question for you guys.
wait. Did one of the teams lose to University of North Carolina Upstate or something like that?
We beat SC Upstate, the softball team.
Oh,
did.
South Carolina Upstate.
Softball, no, 4-2.
I think they're. I don't know.
I thought they were 2-1.
We'll check up on it and get.
Yeah, they were 2-1 this weekend. So
Okay.
Okay.
Which team, both the softball and baseball MAC have 11 teams.
Okay.
Which team is missing from our normal like football, basketball on the softball side? It's not the same as the men's
on
side.
the softball side.
So there are two schools. One doesn't have baseball, one doesn't have
Correct.
softball. Wow.
I would say
Well, I know Toledo's not one of them.
no. Clearly.
Canceled one out there.
I'm gonna say
How about Northern Illinois for one of them?
Incorrect.
I'm gonna say Eastern Michigan.
Eastern Michigan does not have a softball team.
Right. Right.
You know who does not have a baseball team?
Ooh.
I'm gonna say
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
That was
yes.
my, I was gonna,
yeah,
ah,
yeah,
why
that's
didn't
where I
do
was going
that?
too. God damn it.
Yeah, Lake Erie around these parts in the springtime is, probably not the easiest.
It's some barren ball time.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sleep tonight. I had a feeling on that. I should have said something.
Great guesses. Wow.
Well, I
Impressive.
know. I look back to when we were in school, and
Yeah, Eastern,
Eastern, Central, and Western all have good tradition.
But we've never played Eastern in softball. I know that because my daughter Kristen played softball, and we used to go to a lot of games. and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
But yeah, Eastern has never had a program.
Wow.
How about that?
Impressive.
Well, on that note, Texas Nate, anything you'd like to add to this program?
No, I got nothing off the top of my head. No.
All right. Well, what do you say we put a wrap and a big old bow on this thing, huh?
Let's put a bow on this bitch.
Yeah, keep an eye out for rocket refuels once every week, between these master podcasts that we just did here today.
That's right. This Emmy award-winning, Grammy award-winning, some award-winning.
And then those will be on YouTube, video actually, so you get to see our faces for radio, which is great.
That's right. 'Cause we all have faces for radio.
All right. On behalf of engineer, producer extraordinaire Kyle W. Smith, Texas Nate, I'm Rocket Ryan Brandt.
I am BJ Spiller.
I am Dan Rocket Man Savage.
Have a good night, everybody. TOL.
Idiot.